like I ordered twice. Hibachi, got the gravy on the rice. Rolling in Mexico like a paradise.
Pittsburgh Steelers fans, it is time once again for another episode of the Sunday Night Q&A. I am not Jeremy Betts. In fact, I wish I was that good looking, but I absolutely am not. Jeremy is on assignment as we speak. Gave me a text, said, "Hey, Bad, can you take care of the show tonight?" I'm like, I love the Q&A. I love talking to all my friends here. And so this is going to be something special for me. So I'm so glad to be here. So glad to check everything out and answer all of your questions. I see my good friends Afton and Kathy and Steeler Chick 46 coming in, and I'm glad to be here. So I want to hear what you have to say. This is your show. I'm just the moderator for it. That's the bottom line of the whole thing. As I take my tag off of my new shirt. Sorry, I have a new Steeler shirt. And I'm actually proud of this shirt because something that's, I always thought the Mike Tomlin Pittsburgh is Stronger Than Cancer shirt was really, really cool. And I thought that was special. And my family, we lost somebody to cancer recently. And that is something that reminds me that there's no team more important than your home team, your family, your friends. And our Steel Curtain family here is important too. So remember what it's all about. When we talk about the Steelers and we get all bent out of shape over certain things, remember sports for me is a departure. And it's a departure from everyday life. So that's what I really enjoy. And there's my buddy, Big G. Big G's. Heck, Big G, if you want to just jump in here, come in and join me. So, hey, so here's the deal. If you saw the title, and, we try to keep to the titles a little bit, rumors in the air like a black and gold thief in the night, and I actually put a black and old thief in the night, and I did that for a reason, because some of these rumors, they might be new, but they're the same old ones. So, my good friend Afton Ford says, "What do you make of the Chris Olave rumor?" I make nothing of the Chris Olave rumor. It's just, you know me, and you know what I love to say. I love to say that the media matchmakers put these things together. Now we have people inside the 412 saying these rumors, and to me, it's just, look, it's not exactly trolling, because it doesn't mean that the Steelers didn't reach out. It could be as simple as, "Hey, what's going on over there in New Orleans? Hey, you've got that Chris Olave guy. Would you like to give him up?" No, we don't. Actually, we would give him up, but it's going to cost you a 1. I don't want to do that. All right. Hey, I'll talk to you later. If you decide that you'll give him up for a 2 or a 3, give us first right of refusal. All right. Talk to you later, Omar. That's the truth of the whole thing. But then everybody kind of makes it gospel. Since George Pickens got traded, every single wide receiver that you can think of that is either on a struggling team or coming up on his last year is going to get linked to the Steelers. Just like every single quarterback has been linked to the Steelers. And each and every one of these quarterbacks is going to be linked. Heck, Aaron Rodgers is still being linked to the New Orleans Saints as well. Kirk Cousins is being linked to the Steelers. He's being linked to the Browns. He's also being linked again, possibly to, I don't know if he's being linked to the New Orleans Saints, but that might be a no because he's in the division. That might be the only reason I haven't heard of that. But, that's the big rumor right now. And they're going to keep coming. And heaven forbid, here we go again. Brock Purdy signs this huge contract. They have to pay Brock and nobody else. So we are going to be hearing about Brandon Ayuk again. Oh, nah, I don't want any part of that guy. I really don't. I mean, Last year at this time, I was like, I'd rather not get him, but it would be exciting to get somebody new in here. But the thing about Brandon Ayuk, remember, the 7 touchdowns that he had in 2023, 3 of them came against the Steelers on opening day. So in the remainder of all of that, he didn't touch the football or sniff the end zone. There you go. Good to see all my friends in here. Mark Tobin. Is the rumors true about a Rod signing right before training camp? Now, I'm assuming that's Aaron Rodgers, Mark. I really think, from what I heard the other day, and his biographer was on The Fan, and I listened to that. It was I rip on Pony a lot, but it was a good interview. It really was. And his biographer was, everybody's saying right now, it seems like June 10th. It seems like right before the start of mandatory minicamp or mandatory OTAs or mandatory something. When it gets mandatory, they think he's going to come in. But I keep on thinking that it's got to be true. I think it's so got to be true that I already have the jersey on the hanging up over there, just in case. And I got it cheap, so it didn't matter. If not, I'll rip it off and put Waitman on it. I don't even know if Waitman's going to be around. But, I have so many jerseys now, I can mix and match the letters. But I think that would look cheap. And, it would look like cracked in jerseys. And I really shouldn't do that. But, so I really think the A-Rod signing is... Aaron Rodgers is going to be your Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback is basically what most people are thinking right now. Then there's the Donald Drivers saying that no, it might not happen. There's still New Orleans. There's still this and that. But I kind of think I would be shocked if it did not happen. Absolutely shocked at this point. There's some people that say that there's no handshake deal. Have you ever seen the Steelers stand this pat? I don't think, with what we know about the entire organization, especially Omar Khan, they would not leave the most important position on the football field just hanging. So they know something that they can't tell us. But a lot of people they're saying no handshake deal, but come on, it's probably the worst kept secret. And when I watched the Pat McAfee interview, the appearance maybe about 3 weeks ago, my gosh, it was even more apparent to me. Everybody was like, okay, he's making excuses. He's doing this. I'm like, nah, he's basically telling us that he's coming to Pittsburgh. He's, especially with the fact that he's talking to Mike Tomlin every week. And I wouldn't be surprised if the George Pickens thing came up too. Looking through here, looking for some fantastic things here. I'm going to bring this up. Brian Miswell, I like this. Khan wouldn't be doing his job if he wasn't looking at any and all options. That's kind of what I was trying to say. You're going to ask anybody. You're going to ask anybody if it's available. Look, if I said to Big G right now, hey, could I go ahead and have your car? I'll give you my Jarvis Jones jersey and $20, and I'll give you a coupon book for free hugs. He'll say, bad. No, go away. And he'd hang up on me. But that doesn't mean that I didn't inquire. That's an inquiry. What if Big G was like, yeah, I'd love a coupon of hugs, and I could use $20. I'm going to go to Arby's. Who knows? I don't really like this car. All right. So the inquiry is the inquiry. You should be inquiring about everybody. In fact, if you know the dude in Kansas City, call him up. If your buddy's with him, Because I would do this. If I was a GM and I was buddies, I'm sure I would be buddies with guys, other GMs. I'd call them up and say, hey, you ready to give up Mahomes yet? Got a Jarvis Jones jersey. In fact, we'll give you Jarvis Jones. He'll come out of retirement and play for you. And he'd be like, all right, I don't have time for this BS bad. I'll see you. You always inquire. That's what you do. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit more. Let's talk more about the Brock Purdy thing real quick, because Afton says the Purdy contract was strange, in my opinion. What do you really... I almost think that the 49ers were just backed into a corner. If you let them go, probably would have been the smartest thing to do. But it's kind of like any situation. You're not going to let a guy like that go because of money. You're going to try to make it work around him. But I have a feeling the 49ers are going to be hamstrung for a long time. But good general managers find a way to mess with that salary cap. And Jeff Hartman always says, and I used to laugh at him at first, but now I really think he's right, because I think about the Chiefs and everything. With some teams, the salary cap just doesn't exist. So it's kick the can time in San Francisco is what it is. Kick the can in San Fran. Let's go ahead and look at some more of these comments. John S., rough day today, need a bad Q&A show. Well, I appreciate that. I've had a rough day too. I almost didn't do this show. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of need that too. I'll tell you publicly. I mean, you're my Steeler family, right? So I'll just tell you, I spent yesterday in the emergency room, and I spent half the day today sleeping. And it wasn't... Got a history of kidney stones there. And if you've never had one, you don't want one. And I would not wish a kidney stone on Myles Garrett. And I hate Myles Garrett. No, I abhor. I don't hate anybody. I abhor him. But maybe that is hating. But, oh, gosh, it was... I've had about 14 or 15 in my lifetime since 1999. And this one was the worst one I've ever had. So I almost didn't do the show. And so then I'm like, you know what? It's a half hour with my friends. And so Mark, Mark says kidney stones are the worst. Then that means Mark has had them. And you know what? I finally passed it. And the passing is not the worst part of it. It's the abdominal pain. And I kept it. And it's only 4 millimeters. And 4 millimeters, you have bigger stones in your driveway. It's hard to find one that's small. But they wreak havoc on you. Just that little bit. Because it's sharp and jagged. Oh my gosh. It is terrible. Gene Smith, is Olave coming to Pittsburgh, or is a terrible kidney stone rumor? Mark says, imagine being in pain and can't hardly move. My problem is I can't you can't move, but you can't sit still either. Oh gosh. Then they give you something. They give me something in the hospital where I go to that's non-narcotic, but it's beautiful. They tried to give me morphine at first, and it didn't touch it. Then this other stuff was awesome. So, my gosh, the fine folks at Toradol, thank you. Kathy says 4 millimeters is pretty big for a kidney stone that passes. Yeah, it's I think it was one of my biggest, and I've had a lot. But nobody wants to talk about my kidneys or my stones. Mark Tobin says this. Well, I'm convinced the Cowboys have no salary cap either. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I don't think they do. I really don't. Steeler Chick 46 says, I like Purdy. Saw him play at Iowa State. Did he transfer to Washington? Is that what he did? I can't keep... NIL has ruined college football for me. I have no idea where anybody is. So let's go ahead and Big G says this. I think this is about the Olave thing. The answer is hell nah. Yeah, I don't think he's coming. Man, I want to hang out with Big G again. I've never hung out with him, but just here. It's my buddy. Anthony Godwin says, hello, everyone. I tell you what, I need to go ahead and get more questions here. So let's fill them up for the last 15 minutes. The next 15 minutes, excuse me. Wow, a lot of people are loving Toradol. And it's not narcotic. I couldn't believe it. But they waited to give it to me. They're like, we got to make sure your kidney functions okay before we give you this stuff. Luckily, it was good. What a way to ruin a weekend. Why couldn't this happen on a Wednesday where I could miss work? Here we go. Let's go ahead and I'm going to answer Afton's question. Which game in 2020 season are you most looking forward to? Well, this is actually, for me, one of those questions that it's I'm actually looking forward. You're going to laugh at me. I've got a buddy that covers the Jacksonville Jaguars, and my daughter thinks Fred Johnson is the funniest human alive. And Fred Johnson, if you remember, was a Pittsburgh Steeler. He was an undrafted free agent out of Florida, just won a championship, played for the Bengals, won a championship with the Eagles, and now got a free agent contract to go to the Jaguars. And we're probably going to be down there that weekend. And my daughter wants to go see Fred Johnson. And I'm like, I said, okay, I don't care who they play. We'll go. Then I find out when we're going, and it's the Steelers. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But in the regular season, I think right now, the game that I'm looking forward to the most is week 1. And that's a Dave Schofield answer. But I can't wait for week 1 to get started. I don't care who they play. As long as the Steelers are playing, I look least forward to the bye. I hate the bye. I probably look least forward to Ravens week because I just hate the Ravens, everything about them. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and take a break. We'll be back right after this. Stick around. It is the Q&A here. It is the Fans First Sports Network. It is the Steel Curtain Network. Stick around.
Looking nice. Room service, if I like, I order twice. Hibachi, got the gravy on the rice. Rolling in Mexico like a paradise. Riding on cloud nine, we are living the good life. It's a good life. Living the good life. It's a good life. Living the good life.
All right, Jeremy Betts is living the good life right now, so that's me, BAD. I am taking over the Q&A for a week. I love to be back on this show. It's probably one of my favorite shows because I don't have to do too much work. All you have to do is ask the questions, and I love it. Anthony Godwin. I've seen on a podcast saying Jameson Williams is going to be on the trade block. Jameson Williams is tough. I would go ahead and look at him. I don't think you would have to give up a 1 for Jameson. I think you can get him for a 2 or 3, maybe. I don't know. But I would take a guy like Jameson Williams. But who was it? Was it Jerry Dulac? Somebody with the Steelers. They don't expect another trade. They actually expect the Steelers to do it through free agency. Now, I will tell you this. I'm getting on good authority, and I think you're starting to see this now, but don't expect Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis is really hurt. You probably won't see him back until, I'd say, week 7 or 8 at the earliest. So I would not expect Gabe Davis to be coming to Pittsburgh. I don't really expect him to go anywhere. I know he's having visits right now, but he's probably saying that I'm right on track. But I don't really think that's going to happen. I'm kind of with Kevin Smith. I like the idea of a Keenan Allen a lot. I think that would be a whole lot of fun. Big G, do we trade or sign a swing tackle? I've heard Jones and Troy F are ready to go. Yeah, you know what? If you trade for one, G, man, I love Sean Gurley. He's my guy. Sean, if you trade for one, it's gonna be a guy that half of us haven't heard of, maybe. And it's gonna be a guy that's probably gonna be right before the start of the season, I would think. I think if you sign one, it'll be after June 1st and you see who's out there. And there's plenty of guys, but right now, I think they really like Calvin Anderson. I don't know enough about Calvin Anderson, but I think they really like him. Big G says Jameson Williams is a total crash out. Trust me on this one. I know he got it in trouble. What was that? Gambling? What was that? Was it fantasy football or something that he was in trouble for? But he'd be interesting, but I just don't expect them to trade. Like I said, I really like Keenan Allen right now. What is the best card game you have ever played? You know what? I go back to I have two. I used to love playing Rummy, but this is just, for me, this is just nostalgic. I love Pinochle. Have not played Pinochle in probably about 30 years, though, because that was a Davis family thing, the four of us, when we were growing up. And, college kind of, it stopped at college, I guess. But my parents used to go out and play Pinochle with friends and everything. And I know it was a Pinochle club, but one of my friends said, no, they're not going to play Pinochle. They're in a swingers club. I'm like, don't say that about mom and dad. Don't say that about Bill and Pat. It's not funny. But I witnessed them when they had it at our house. They were actually playing cards and making a lot of food. And I got to get takeout and hang out in the basement watching movies on a Saturday night when I was 12. It was great. I felt like a big deal. And then they would go to other people's houses when they didn't host it, and I'd get to stay home while my sister was out partying. So that's probably the best card game that I've ever played. But you know what? I'll say this. I used to love the game. If you consider it a card game, I guess it's a card and dice game. Appa baseball. You'd roll the dice, and if you got a 66, it was either deep or a home run. Just depending how good that guy was. The draft was always a lot of fun. Steeler Chick 46 asks, what rookie will make the biggest impact this season? I have got to say, if you look at it objectively, the guy set up for the biggest rookie season and who I expect right off the bat to win the Joe Green Great Performance Award, I think it's Caleb Johnson, because he's going to have the opportunity to turn every touch into more carries. I really think if he starts burning them up, he'll get more of a percentage and he might take over. And if Jaylen Warren has trouble with some fumbles, which we've seen it happen, that's a possibility. And it seems like Caleb Johnson is a lot like Najee Harris, where he holds onto the ball pretty well. So I'm really thinking that's a good bet there. But I would not be surprised if you see a few sacks out of Jack Sawyer. And I think Derek Harmon should have a decent year. Derek Harmon's going to have every opportunity to win the Joe Green Great Performance Award as well, because he should probably be in that rotation and be basically a starter. Mark Tobin, do you think we are a 12-11 team win with Rodgers or better? Yes. I picked them to go 11-6 on our schedule release, and I didn't know the schedule beforehand. And that was not knowing who the quarterback's going to be. But if it's Aaron Rodgers, I like what the biographer said on that interview the other day. He's like, look, I don't think they're winning the Super Bowl, but I think they're 11-12 wins and a playoff win too. Love to have a playoff win there. Love to have a division title too. That would mean a whole heck of a lot. Yeah, so I think that's it. And I would not be surprised if that happens, if we're making overtures for Aaron Rodgers to come back again next year while you're grooming a rookie. John S. Rumors are the Giants knew the Steelers were taking a defensive player and they didn't need to trade up to 20. I think anyone who knew what was going on knew that we were not taking a QB. Yeah. That's the thing. Everybody knew that the Steelers weren't taking a QB. I know Mel Kiper Jr. really thought they should. But, that's the thing, though. You just never know. Let's see. Came in late, so maybe this was asked, but which rookie jersey will you get first? Do I have any already? No, I don't. And I have not ordered any yet. Jack Sawyer is probably my number one rookie jersey that I'm going to get. And I feel a kinship with the Ohio State guys. And I know Big G is going to love me saying that. And it's not because I'm an Ohio State fan. I'm not. I grew up a Penn State fan. But I told you about, we've had a death this week in the family, and they were huge Ohio State fans, and I would go over and watch Ohio State games with them, and we watched the championship game, and they were so diehard, and it was so awesome. And I'm wearing an Ohio State tie to the funeral this week, so it's and I just had to buy one because I don't own one. So it's just one of those things that I was so thrilled when they picked up Will Howard and Jack Sawyer, because I've watched them a lot over the last year and I really enjoyed it. But I'll eventually probably, if I can get them cheap, I'll have everybody. Most everybody. It just depends. I go in phases. I keep on saying that maybe I'm going to stop. But then I don't. I have a jersey addiction. I have them hanging in my office now. I should one of these days I'll show you my collection, but it's ridiculous. I really need to stop. Let's see what else we have. Biggie Bronco 9-8 at best without Aaron Rodgers. With Aaron Rodgers 11-6. Yeah, that's. I kind of feel you there. I agree with you. Steelers are the only team in my lifetime that has remained relevant during a rebuild. That's true. Gosh, watching the Pirates today, their rebuild is horrible. You get a perfect game, not a perfect game, excuse me. You get a complete game out of your star pitcher, and he still gets the loss because you don't score a single run. And they've gone almost a month without more than 4 runs. That's just amazing. Let's see. Art Gordon, is A-Rod signing? Yeah, I really think so. Yeah, I really do. It just seems right. Art also wants to know, are we signing another wide receiver? Yeah. It's not going to be a phenomenal signing, but I think Keenan Allen would just be absolutely amazing. I would love it. I think that would be a phenomenal signing. I think that would be great, Art. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us today. Yeah, rumors are out there. They're going to steal time away from you. These thieves are going to steal the time. Big G says Amari Cooper. That's a possibility. I like what Amari Cooper could do more than a guy like Stephon Diggs in a locker room. I actually think I think Amari is one of those guys that is a very good influence in the locker room. So I think that would be great. So I am going to get on out of here. I'm going to go ahead and do some more recording. And in fact, I'm going to go hang out with my good friend Kevin Smith. So if you want to hear what we have to say, check us out 11 a.m. here, wherever you download your favorite podcast, not on YouTube, but on the Steel Curtain Network. You can get us anywhere. So go ahead and check it out. We're going to go record that now. Sleeping Lady says real quick, Cooper Allen would be great additions. Yeah, I would take either of those guys right now. And, they almost got Keenan Allen in the draft. They were 2 picks away from him. They were all set to draft him, and then they got stuck and had to pick number 11. It wasn't Sammy Coates, Marcus Wheat. That's it. So I am out of here. Thank you so much. This is Brian Anthony Davis. This is the Steelers Q&A. You will have your good friend Jeremy Betts back next week. Not last week. Well, he was here last week. So I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much. We'll see you.
Riding on cloud nine, we are living a good life. It's a good life. Living a good life. It's a good life. Living a good life.